Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Let's do the 0x0f load balancer task. Now this task basically requires that we set up two more servers and then do a load balancing infrastructure. So what this means simply is we are going to have three servers, right? Two servers that are doing exactly the same thing, and then the last server will be like the default server that you visit when you visit your domain. So what that server will be there doing is it will be splitting the request between the two other servers. So let's say we have about 100 people trying to access your web page. They will be visiting the load balancer, right, which is the main server. Then what the server will be doing will be sharing the requests between the remaining two servers, which means you have the request going in 50-50 to each of the other servers. Or if you have more servers than that, that's how it works. So this is basically used in a lot of deployment infrastructures, like a lot of big industries where they have millions of users. So they have like these load balancing systems, so the servers don't get overloaded when they have a lot of users. So let's go ahead and see what happens. And the first thing you need to confirm is that you still have your web 01 running. Now I already have three servers open, but I am very sure I can only access one of it, which is the web 01 that we worked on in the previous video. You could be seeing the link to that video, the SSH task, in the SSH and web server task. Actually, you'll be seeing them in the top right corner of your screen right now. So now let's just go ahead and confirm that I can still log in to my web 01 server. So let me say SSH Ubuntu at yes, so I can still log into my web 01 server. That works. Let me exit and see if I can log into the others. I'm very sure that I would not be unable to do that. So let me just see. Let me confirm it first. So SSH Ubuntu at nope. Yeah. Yes. And yes, I'm unable to log in. So let's go ahead and ask for a new server for both web 01, web 02, and LB 01. So we have the LB or web 01 running properly and properly configured. So we'll just go ahead and ask for a new server for web 02 and then the LB 01. This is assuming that you already have your SSH set up properly before, and that will be like confirmed since you can log into the previous server. So let's just go ahead and ask for a new server. So now for LB 01, let's ask a new server also. So remember to wait until you can see that it's running, and after you see that it's running, you need to wait for a few minutes to just let everything set up so you don't have to like see a number of failed requests. So we'll just wait this out. Running, pending. Let's load again. So while that is loading, give it a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes maximum. Let's go ahead and see the code we are going to need to make this work properly. So now, normally when we set up our web 01 server, it responds using hello world when you visit the default page. But now they want us to change something. Let's go ahead and see the first task. In the first task, you need to configure web 02 to be identical to web 01. We use the script for that, right? So now, but some things need to change. Configure nginx so that it contains a custom header. Now, this custom header means that when you send a request to that server, not only does it return the hello world as a text, it needs to return an header that will be unique to each one of the servers. So when you visit the server, you'll be able to discover which one responds. You can identify the responses different from each other, so it will be unique to each server. So now you can see this will be the response. This will be the header that will be different for each server. So as you can see in this example, we have X served by web 01, which means this response was from the web 01 server, and then this response was from the web 02 server. So we would replicate this in our servers also. So what we want to do is go ahead and copy this script. You need to copy this script and run it in both your servers, web 01 and web 02, but you leave web 03 for now. I am LB 01, sorry. You leave LB 01 for now. Thus web 01 and web 02 need to be configured using this script. So let me go ahead and log into my web 01 server. So now so I would create a file. Let me see if I have a file here. In fact, load balancing. Nano. You can use any editor you want, Nano, Vim, Emacs, even if you like. But I love using Nano because it's quite simple to use. So Nano, let's just say load balancing. Load balance. I'll paste my file here. Save. Now, if you want to know how I saved it, you just press the Control X, then the Y, and then enter. So that would save automatically. So Control X, Y, enter, save again. Control X, because I didn't change something. So let's go ahead and see. So yeah, so Control X. Now you can see it's saying save modified buffer. Just Y, and then enter. Nothing else. It will save your file. So now let's go ahead and make it executable. chmod u plus x load. Remember, you need to use the name that you use for the file. If you use the different name for your file, you go ahead and use that name in this chmod command also. So now enter. Our file is not executable. Our script is not executable. So let me run ./load balance. Now this would take a few seconds to run. It's complete. Now let's go ahead and see if it actually worked fine. So curl local host, but not just localhost. Let's use -s I. So now you can see we have x served by, this is the header that we like made into it, x served by 145 web 01. So now you can see, because we are in our web 01 server, it shows that this is the web 01 server. So now when we use it on the web 02 server also, we'll be seeing that this is web 02. So these numbers will be different for yours. This is student ID. You don't have to worry about this. So now this is what you have to worry about. Web 01 works on web 01 server, and web 02 for the web 02 server also. So let's go ahead and we are done with this. Let's exit and then go ahead into our web 02 server to do the exact same thing. So now SSH Ubuntu at yes. Now this is because I'm logging in for the first time, so you just type in yes and enter. So now we are logged into our web 02 server also. Now let's go ahead and log and create the script. So let's say nano setup. You can use any file name really. You can use load balance or whatever it is that you want to use. So let me go ahead and copy the file one more time. I'll paste it in here. Remember again, if you use nano Control X, Y, enter, that saves your file. But if you're using vim escape :wq, save your file. So now let's make it executable. chmod u plus x setup. Now let's run ./setup. Now this will take more time than the web 01 because we already had nginx installed and configured. We just have to change the configuration for the web 01. So this might take a few seconds to work out. You just have to wait. So now that is working properly, let's test it also. curl -si local host. Now you can see we have web 02 in the response. So that worked properly. If you even want to confirm again, like to provide the exact same response that was provided here, just use this. Yeah, but we'll be changing this to house instead of the IP address. Let's just use localhost. But if you're using your local terminal to access this, let's say si local host to grep pies. So yes, that worked properly. Exact same type of response. So now that should check. Let's use our checker and see if it works. So while that's working out, the next thing we need to do is to actually set up the web LB01 server. So this is the script for that. Well, let's wait for this to check first. I don't know why it's taking this long. So while we wait for that, let's go ahead and grab our IP address for the LB01 and login. So let me exit my web02. Now SSH Ubuntu at. Now let's see if it's checked already. Still loading. Yes. Now we are logged into our LB01 server. So now what we are trying to achieve with this server is to make sure that whenever you visit the server, it redirects you or just gets a response from the web01 server or the web02 server. So now we're going to use this script to set it up, all right? But now there's some things we need to change in this script. We need to change these values, change it to yours and your IP addresses. So that will make sure that you are accessing the proper server, not the ones that are not probably existent. So let's go ahead and copy this script. Okay, let's see if this is checked already. I don't know why this is taking so long. Well, anyways, let's go ahead. Let's create a file, nano setup, in our LB01 server, paste. But now you need to change those values, right? Backend, click. So now, yeah, the check has finally come around. So now we have all the checks green. So the task was completed successfully without any errors. So let's go ahead and continue this. Now the first thing you need to change, just you can leave every other thing like that for the sake, but just in case if you want to make yours unique to yourself, you can change these values, click viral to whatever it is that your domain is, but it's not really important. Just the main idea is that it's uniform across the entire file. So if you change any occurrence of this click viral, make sure it's the same across every occurrence. Like find everywhere it's located in this file and change it to your domain without the .tech, of course. So now let's go ahead and just change the required ones, which is the IP addresses. So let me go ahead and grab the IP address for my web01 server. Before that, let me go ahead and copy this. This is your student ID, so just change it. Make sure you do that. Okay. No. Okay, let's go ahead and do that for this also. 145019. Okay, now for the IP addresses, you can just leave the colon 80. Make sure it's only the IP addresses that you change. So the 80 is the default port for the servers actually, so that's why it has to remain the same. Now let's go ahead and paste this here. Yeah, the IP address. Web02 also. So now this is going to be in the configuration for our proxy, which we are going to install using the script. So our proxy is a server like that works for load balancing. So it's like we use an algorithm which is round robin. I'll show you where we use that here. Okay, let me just go ahead and go over the script. So here we updated the PC, check if our proxy is installed, otherwise install it. Now this is the configuration for our proxy. Now you can see here we have the algorithm balanced round robin, which means it will split the requests equally across all the servers. So if we have 4 servers, 4 requests, they'll be given each 1 If we have 2 servers, 4 requests, 2 like that. So now that's how it works. So let's go ahead and run this script. Remember to make it executable first. Chmod u plus x setup. Now /setup. Now this will take a while to install a proxy, then configure it. So let's go ahead and just wait for that to complete. In that case, let's go ahead and just reread the requirements. Install a proxy on your LB01 server, configure our proxy so it sends traffic to web01 and web02. That's why we add the IP addresses of both there. Now distribute the request using a round robin algorithm. So that's the round robin balanced round robin, which means to be sharing equally across all the servers. Now make sure our proxy can be managed via an init script. That's done in the script. Make sure that your servers are configured with the right host names. So that's how it works. So now let's go ahead and wait for this to complete. So if this works properly, when we visit localhost for the first time, it should show web01 response. Then for the second time, web02 response, and like that to begin to share the responses from both servers, because that's how it works. So let's go ahead and use curl -si local host. Now you can see we are visiting localhost on this LB01 server, but now we are seeing response from web01. When I try again, we see web02. When I try again, web01. So it goes ahead and continues to split the request evenly across the servers, web02. So this is how it works. So imagine you're having like 1,000 users trying to access your servers at the same time. They'll be divided into these servers, which means the load or the stress on each of the server would not be too much. So now that is successfully completed. Let's go ahead and check our code and also ask for any correction if that applies to you. This might take a while, so just now let's look into this task for the meantime. So just as in task 0, we'd like to automate the task of creating a custom response HTTP header but with Puppet. Now this is just doing the exact same thing that the previous script did. The script for installing the nginx with the custom response task 0. So we are doing this exact same thing inside of this task, but with Puppet instead. So let's go ahead and just check the file. We'll be going deeply into that in this video. So while we wait for the checker to complete, so now you can see execute update system, install nginx. Now this is setting the hello world response to the default file, redirection, and then this for the HTTP header response by web01 or web02. So that works properly. Yeah, that's all. So you don't really need to run this on your system. Just make sure that you have it in your GitHub repository, and then the checkout will work fine. So we can just even go ahead and yeah, that works. So this is taking longer than usual as okay. So we just wait for this to complete and then we go ahead. So in the next video, while we are waiting for this, in the next video we are going to be talking about the is it firewall, or I think it should be no HTTPS SSL. Yeah, we are going to be doing SSL termination for the next video, so just keep on the lookout for that. This is taking longer than usual, so let me just pause the recording and come back when it's done so we don't waste too much time.